Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Just Us Dads. Welcome to the Dadversation. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And before we get started, let me just tell you that we are on every single social media platform. Please don't hesitate to follow us, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think. It does help us putting these episodes together and providing you with content that you may appreciate. Once again, we're all stuck at home dealing with the coronavirus. Thanks to the technology, we're able to record another episode. George, what was that, man? Is it really that bad, though? Seriously?
What was that line of Wusa?
Is it that bad, really?
Yeah, man, they're boys. They're crazy. They break everything. I have a list of repairs daily.
Making a checklist already. You need to fix.
Oh no, it is hectic. It is hectic.
We pay taxes for the schools to get damaged. The budget to repair the school is there.
We pay so they can break other people's things.
Well, it's the budget to repair it is part of it. It's there.
You know what? I don't know. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think they're going back to school anytime soon.
No.
They suspended everything until April 13th, but I think from the moment they said that, in the back of my mind, I was like, there's no way. The entire month of April, we're stuck indoors, and possibly the month of May as well. Now there's
the schools are closed till the 1st of May.
Oh, it wasn't until the 13th. Oh, yeah, exactly. But everything else, the 13th of April. But yeah. I think they're gonna put everything. They're gonna push everything back into May, and it wouldn't surprise me if it goes all the way until the end of May. Now there's these things I'm hearing about July.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it's crazy because the more that we're progressing into these things, you have the government taking these measures, and it's like, I'm not sure if I should worry or if I should convince myself that it's temporary, but allowing the police to just show up just like that, you know what I mean? Giving them extra control, extra measures. It's all these extraordinary things that are happening that are giving, the police force more leeway, the government more leeway.
Yeah. Scary stuff.
It's kind of... I don't want to say I'm scared. I mean, we're not living in some third world country, but at some point, man, it's like, is this going to disappear, or are we getting
George
this state of affairs?
The Soviet Union wasn't a third world country.
Well,
it wasn't. Right?
Yeah. But
and these things happen. You're right. We spoke about it last time too. It's after this. What freedoms are we giving away? What kind of freedoms are we giving away? And what rights do we give other people? And do we want to give certain people certain rights?
Like, I just want to reassure myself every single day, because obviously we watch the news. I follow what's going on all the time, and I just keep reassuring myself, or wanting to reassure myself, that, you know what? When it's over, everything will just come back to normal. And then there's like this little voice that tells me, what are you kidding me, man? Like, they took advantage of this situation. And I agree with what they're doing, right? I mean, this is what the government is there for. In extraordinary measures, make the decisions that you need to make to keep your population safe. But are we going to convert back to what it was before, right? I mean, it's crazy. Like, just now, right before we got home, my wife was looking through her phone and she saw this alert. The leader of the opposition at City of Montreal, Lionel Perez, okay, he's an Orthodox Jew. Police went to his house. They called the police on him because he was celebrating his daughter's engagement. His daughter is in New York. They have an engagement, and because of everything happening, they couldn't make it there or whatever. I don't know if it was supposed to happen in Montreal, whatever the case is, but they were doing it through video conference. And the guy had invited a bunch of people to his house to celebrate the engagement. He had a band playing music. First of all, it's weird already to do this thing over video conferencing. I mean, just postpone, man. Postpone. Like, what's the problem? Postpone. Everything is being postponed. New York is on lockdown. Nothing is happening. This is the urgency now. You need to have and look, it's the personal matter. And I know Lionel personally. So, but I mean, of all people, man, the leader of the opposition at the City of Montreal, it's like you're there at City Council making all these decisions, and your neighbors called the cops on you, man, because you had I don't know how many people gathered in your house. What's wrong with people, man?
Well, it shows how much you're craving to go back.
No, but you know what I mean? And it's like when you have individuals like that not following the directives, imagine just normal people that really don't care, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're listening to the news
Good
now.
point.
They want to close down parks because Mount Royal is packed. Parc La Fontaine is packed. What don't you understand? Stay home. And they just keep giving this hypothetical situation where if every, and of course it's never going to happen. I mean, we're 8 million people in Quebec, but if every single person stays home for 2 weeks, we're done. Like it's done. It's over. Like that's what we need. So just stay home. Like what's so difficult to understand? I don't get it. You know? But aside from that, it's just all the extraordinary things, you know, and then you have all these things that happen. Like today, it was released in the news because April, there was this. I guess they had passed it in government. I'm not sure when. Every so often they increase their salaries, right? Because it stays for 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know. So every now and then, every so often they pass legislation to increase the salaries of the members of parliament, and it happened to be this year today, April 1st. So we're in a situation where the government is spending billions of dollars taxing people through the roof. In the western provinces they're complaining because of the carbon tax, and you have the members of parliament getting an increase in salary. and it became an issue.
Well, that's funny because in contrast to that, I think in Greece,
Yeah, I tweeted it in Greece.
They're trying to reduce people's salaries, right? Not people in the parliament.
Yeah. No, the prime minister suggested that all parliamentarians give half of their salaries for a period of 2 months. So, they're going to give a full month of salary over the course of 2 months. It's significant.
Yeah.
I actually did the math here in Canada. It comes out to over $5 million, 1 month of salary. If you take the 338 parliamentarians and they give 1 month of salary, they can do it in 1, 2, 3 months, whatever. But let's say we accumulate 1 month of salary, it's over $5 million. Like it could provide a lot of help, food banks, or even just hospital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The health professionals and all the provisions that they need, that there's a shortage or whatever there is. I mean, $5 million. I mean, it's not a lot, but the thing in Greece is that salary is going to go into a relief fund. So I'm not sure if they're going to use it right away or if they're going to use it to kind of springboard after the crisis is over, right? I think they're thinking ahead. When all this is said and done, we need to have like this emergency fund to kind of, think of putting everything back to normal, which is not a stupid thing. It's important to think of what's going on now. How do we take care of the situation? But at the same time, you need to have like a unit, like a crisis cell, kind of thinking of, okay, what's the after now? What are we going to do once this is over? Because eventually it will finish, right? So you need to start working on that, I think, from now. So I think that's what they're doing over there. I'm not sure. I don't know the details, but it was a good move on his behalf.
Yeah. And I was just referring to the contrast in mentality. Like here, they're thinking, how can they make more? They're thinking, how can they share, right?
Well, this is where it was misconstrued because they're not now making that decision to increase their salary. This has been, it was passed. I'm not sure when it was passed, but obviously it wasn't now. It was done probably last year or early last year. I'm not sure. And it just took effect now.
Okay.
So it just falls out of bad timing. But at the same time, I mean, I think I read somewhere that Trudeau and Scheer, the leader of the opposition, they're not gonna take that increase. They're gonna give it away. So I mean, hopefully, if everyone follows the example, I mean, they get a lot of money, man. They get 180 grand a year. You know what I mean? It's 14,000 a month. Like half of that, you can live well. You know what I mean? You can live well off 8 grand a month. You know what I mean? Like you're still good. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Give the other half. Do something. I don't know. We're just throwing out things now. But
would you give half your salary
if I was making 180 and I was a parliamentarian? Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. There's no ifs.
Well,
no ifs.
No, but I mean, you have to compare apples and apples, man. I mean, if you take the salary I'm making,
half a salary is half a salary.
Half a salary is half a salary. That's an apple with an apple.
That's the apple, exactly that.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's easy to judge these guys because we all know what they're making.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're comparing what they're making based on what you're used to making. I mean, you've lived your whole life making whatever, 60, 70, $80,000 a year, and then tomorrow you get elected and you're making nearly 3 times more, 2.5 times more. I mean, does your lifestyle really change that much? They just, you know what I mean? Especially the people that were just elected in 2019. They just had elections.
Yeah, look, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Of course not. And I'm
I
not,
think it's very noble for somebody that would do that, but it's not as easy
Exactly.
as it sounds
Don't
because
judge him because nobody else before him was asked to do
no, I'm
so.
not.
yeah,
I'm just saying that I'm putting myself in their shoes where it would be a huge boost in my annual income. And it's not like I would go from the house we're at now to living in a castle and needing $14,000 to get by. You understand? I mean,
yeah, but but it's the little things. I think with an income like that, it's the little things. Your car's a little more expensive. Your clothes are a little more expensive. Your grocery bill is a little higher.
okay,
You know, your vacation is a little bit more expensive. So in the end, George is right. It is a percentage. You're used to a certain percentage. It's what are you willing to live less with to give other people more, and that's a tough call. It's not easy for everyone to do.
yeah, but you're also there to kind of show the example, right? So,
Yeah. From that aspect, yeah.
like 1 month, is it really going to make that big of a dent? And again, I don't want to judge. I don't know people's personal situations. Maybe, maybe not. But I don't know. 1 month out of the 12 at 180 grand a year, I mean, you're still okay. You know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I see the rainbows in the back. You guys, you're on the.
Yeah. My house has been invaded. Well, my room has been invaded. My office has been invaded. Sorry, but yeah, the little rainbows they give hope.
You know what's funny with that? We first saw those maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that. My wife told me, "Should we make a rainbow?" My initial reaction, I don't know why I think like this, but I'm like, "You think I'm going to put a rainbow on my window? It's like an open invitation to all these child, inviting,
No, man.
telling."
Nobody's out. Nobody's out.
Sure, the whole point of this is to show the people that are walking by to see it, to know that,
No, nobody's walking by, man. There's no one.
and we're giving hope. That's the whole point, so people can see it walking by. And I'm like, that's like an open invitation, man. I don't want
Yeah.
there's kids in this house. So we kind of forgot about it, and then my daughter came and said, "Why is everyone putting rainbows? I want to draw a rainbow too." So then you can't say no. So we drew one. We put up on the window.
No, I know, but so did we.
How
But
can you be against the rainbows?
look, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'm not against the rainbows.
Oh,
No,
I like the
George is.
rainbows. I like the rainbows. Rainbows they're cute. They're cool. I think it's a sign of hope. They're facing the inside because hope starts within, from the inside, and then we can spread it outside. But number one, there's not a lot of people walking by my street. Okay, so nobody can really see the rainbows. But two, why they're not that important? Because when you have the people in the front line doing all the sacrifices, doing all the heavy work, doing the heavy lifting, like the nurses, the doctors, and everyone.
Yeah.
When we're going to be asked 10 years from now, what did you do during the crisis?
I drew a rainbow.
I don't want to answer, I drew a rainbow.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but at the same time, how much more can you do, right? I mean, everyone has their own situation.
The idea behind the rainbow is to let the kids think that they're.
That's
helping
it.
other
That's it.
people
That's it.
The way
by
I
putting a rainbow
understood
in
it,
the window.
the way I
It's not
understood,
about us making rainbows.
It's not about us making a change.
I just cut a piece of scotch tape for him. And they
Because
did it, yeah.
that's it. But the whole culture and the whole philosophy today on Facebook is act like you're concerned, put up a meme, and you've done your work. You've done your part. You're okay. You go to bed better thinking,
Yeah.
right? Thinking that you did the right thing. And I just find that's a little weird.
the way I understood it, was as it's a community and a sign of solidarity within your neighborhood, within your society, within the community you live in.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
But
It's
that's just
just
the way
it's
that
just
I
positive
understood it. Like,
vibes.
look,
It's
we're
all
all
it
in this
is.
together. It's going to be okay. Let's keep up hope. And that's why that's how I understood it. I'm like, okay, because there's a lot of people obviously passing by here. We live next to a park, so there's rainbows everywhere. There's rainbows
Yeah.
everywhere. So
So look, let me tell you, I don't want
But
I don't want to be I don't want to be the pessimist. I just want to be a little bit of a pragmatist. There's more rainbows on Windows right now, but if you see what the experts are saying, divorces are going up, alcoholism is going up,
Yeah.
drug use and abuse is going up, domestic violence is going up, but we're putting rainbows. You know what I mean?
Isn't
So
Isn't it amazing how the liquor store is considered an essential service? Like everything closed down. Okay,
Of course it is.
stores, I get it. You need
Well, I mean, if you were stuck without your alcohol, you'd turn violent. I'm assuming if you needed it.
and of course the weed store. That was the funniest meme that came out on the internet the day that everything shut down. I don't know who it was that had the presence of mind to go downtown and take a picture of the line waiting outside the weed store, and it's like everyone is taking measures, social distancing, stay away, and there's like a lineup of 100 people, probably coughing.
Oh.
We need
Look,
that weed. We need to get by.
the best way to deal with the situation. Look, I don't smoke. I used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore. It's been a while that I haven't smoked, but it's kind of easy to escape the situation by escaping reality, right? And that's what weed is. So you can't blame the people for doing that. It is an escape. It is maybe a haven or a safe space where you
But
can go and.
even more so now because you know that there's no work. I'm staying home. I have zero responsibility. It's not only about I can't wait until Friday, Saturday, Sunday to smoke, right? Like, can you imagine the quantity of weed that these people have bought?
No, but think about it. If your kids are under 18, you're smoking. You're hiding from them to go smoke. But if your kids are older than 18, you're smoking with them.
You're sharing.
You're going like this. Here.
Yeah, and you're getting into fights. Whose weed was this? Let's not fight. You're trying to save your kid.
Go disinfect the weed. You got to disinfect the weed.
I put more than you did.
Why are you putting my weed?
No, guys. It's a bad.
It's an obvious result by locking.
Yeah.
The number of you're gonna see the number of unwanted pregnancies are gonna go up.
Yeah.
Let's say unplanned pregnancies.
Baby boom number 2.
Yeah, that's what
divorces. People are forced to confront their issues if they always avoiding them.
How are you guys doing? Like, are you guys like? Look, we're having a lot of craziness with the kids, but I think my wife and I we're doing great.
Yeah.
So we're just doing great. We're collaborating. Everything's fine. I thought it'd be worse, but it's fine. I'm loving it.
But you always had that chemistry with Alex too. I said this last episode too. For us, it's as if nothing has changed because this is our daily routine was being with the kids home all day until the evening came when we would bring the kids to my in-laws and then go to work because we work in the evenings and at night. So for us, this is completely normal. You understand? So
yeah.
The only thing that's changed is instead of the Emma going to daycare 3 days a week, she's just home. You understand? Because she was only 3 days a week. So nothing really has changed, which is why I was just wondering how because I'm scrolling through social media, Facebook, Instagram, and there's all these parents. They're depressed. They're like, oh my god, stay-at-home parents should get paid. Remember what I was saying last time?
No.
And there's all these things because they can't deal with the situation. I'm just thinking, dude, it's your family, man. It's your kids. You know what I mean? But look, everyone has a different reality. I mean, for us.
Well, George, you kind of lost the game. Not you personally, but I'm saying but you've kind of lost the game if you're conscious that you have to parent. Parent is not something you do.
I don't think it's what they're complaining about. I mean, how many people do you know who spent this much time with their parents consecutively? Let's say we're doing this for 3-4 months now. We're gonna have to do this for 3-4 months.
Yeah.
There's never been really any kids who've done that 24 hours a day for 3-4 months straight just with their parents.
Never.
No.
Exactly. So this is unique.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think anybody's complaining about parenting.
But what Chris is saying
you
is
need that separation.
No, but what Chris is saying is that at some point you have to realize that, look, I'm their parent and this is the reality. It shouldn't be a burden. I should know what I have to do.
Yeah, you can't get paid for this.
No, I'm not.
It's not a commodity.
I'm just talking about your complaints. I think the complaints are to be expected, man. This is a unique situation.
But at the same time, too, everybody needs to post something on social media. Like it's that presence that, okay, what do I put today? Oh, my kids.
I don't post shit, and I can sympathize with them.
Social media, but there's so much thing. Oh my God, I need my wine. Is it wine o'clock yet? Like all these things. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
parent. Well, I don't understand.
We're in the
How bad can it be?
cutesy generation.
I'm with George on this one. Bottom George. It's you know what, the social media is fine. I guess it's fine. Everybody has their say, and people could go on it and they get their news. They can get their filtered news or whatever they get from there. I just find uh, you can't go on a platform like that and spend 2-3 hours listening to other people being victims and just
No,
complaining. It's
no.
not worth it. It's not worth it. It doesn't help anybody. And I think eventually people are going to get sick of it. Just like now, I'm sure you get sick of people posting things like what they ate and what they do. A lot of people just post little things. It's like no one cares. And when somebody posts themselves, they forget that they don't care about somebody else's, but they think people are going to care about what they post. Everybody has a selfish
Yeah.
way of thinking around that. It's a no, I'm special. Like everybody that posts stupid stuff, but when I post, people listen. People, no, they don't. Nobody does. It you get your dopamine, you get your feel good, euphoric kind of feeling by posting, and then nobody cares. And then there's the people that go and like just because you like their video or their post before, and it's almost like a trade, and it becomes a war, and then there's guilt. It just doesn't work.
Social maintenance.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Platforms used to be for the people that earned, people that worked hard, proved themselves. They earned a certain stature or status, and now you're listening to them because you know what they've earned that right.
Yeah.
Now you're just listening to people like I don't know, man. I don't know. I do it a little bit, and then I get turned off, and then I don't want to do it, and then it's like you know what? Sometimes just go to an expert if you want to find out about the world.
Yeah, but at the same time,
It's not my post.
Yeah.
It's not my post that's gonna say, "Oh wow!" Is my post is not gonna enlighten you.
yeah. But look, it depends how you see it, right? Because like I think I've said it before too. I've become addicted to social media. I don't know if it was because of the job I used to do, but I think I'm on it now more than I ever was before. Probably because of the time that I'm spending more at home. But I've kind of learned to kind of just filter. Like I just scroll through and I find myself just scrolling for no reason. Sometimes it's like you're not really looking for something, but you're just going through everything. It's not really affecting me. Like I'm not.
You want to make sure you don't miss anything.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm not really impacted by the stuff that people put up there, right? But sometimes
You think you're not. You think you're not.
I don't know. I don't think so, Chris.
Oh my god.
But there are sometimes there are a few people.
Oh man. Oh man. Are you wrong on this one?
I don't know. I don't. I really.
You think the stuff that goes into your mind, to your subconscious mind, that you're not aware of, especially when you're all desensitized about everything, you're just scrolling down. You think that doesn't have an impact on you?
Well, look, it depends because the way you explained it is as if I go on social media to see what so and so put on. Like I don't do that. It's just
Yeah, you do. You do. You scroll and then you just selectively land on the one you're interested in.
But
You're going through your filter.
yeah, I'm just going through it. It's more of a curiosity thing to see. Okay, but it's not like, oh, let me see what so and so put. Oh, okay, she's eating pasta, or he made the steak, or he's smoking a cigar.
No, but that's not necessarily the negative aspect. The negative aspect is the information you come across.
It's garbage. There is no information.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Garbage in, garbage out is a good thing. But with social media, or most of the information that your brain kind of most of the information that gets put into your brain, it's garbage in, garbage stay. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
If you're going and you're scrolling through 100 posts and 94 are negative, you know what? You just became a little bit more of a negative person, whether you liked it or not.
Yeah, look, I don't.
But you've adopted. You're going to complain. You're going to project the same news. You're going to tell people, "Hey, did you hear about this?" So now you're the one. You're the one announcing the negative news to somebody else.
Yeah.
So you become part of the trend.
You become part of that, exactly. So you think you're not affected, but people are affected by it, man.
Oh yeah, look, I have to see this objectively. Obviously, I can't just see it myself. Like I'm pretty sure generally, if you look at the the vast majority of the people that are going scrolling through their social media, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they do get impacted, but there is a lot of good stuff too online, right? Depending on who you follow, there's a lot of positive stuff. There is. There's a lot of people just making funny videos or music or laughing or sharing, fun activities with kids, or there's different things that are good, right?
Yeah.
There are there's all these posts about the
So
positive.
the problem with that is that, and it's sad because positive doesn't attract. Somehow positive, it, po- somehow positive in today's culture is cringe.
It depends, Chris. In social media, the positive stuff does have a big impact because a lot of people share those things. Like there was this picture going around where it was a newborn, and it was like
Hmm.
three generations of I can't remember what the title was, but basically it was a dad holding his son and his father, the grandfather basically, because you can't access the hospital, was through the window looking at his newborn grandchild, right? So and that picture went all over the world. It's like, oh, through generations, look, so yes, it's a coronavirus. Yes, everyone is kind of gloomy and depressed and worried, but then there's this kind of stuff. Like, look, there are women giving birth during this period, right? There are some happy things happening, and there's a lot. So yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff like that. There was another one where it was an old lady in a senior's residence, and obviously it's lockdown, you can't access it, and she had Alzheimer's, I think. And her husband, maybe she knows who he is, or maybe she doesn't. I don't know. Again, same example. He was outside on the window looking at her, and he was singing to her, and they were kind of singing together, right? So it was a cute thing. So there's a lot of stuff like that, also, right? Like just giving you hope and saying, "Oh, look how nice that is. Oh, look how cute they are." Like it's not always negative. I mean, there is a lot of negativity. I mean, I scroll through and I see all these stories and posts about, oh, I need my wine, and oh, I'm going crazy. It's March 95th. Oh, today is March. Like, how many times I saw that? Today is March 95th, as if March is like a never ending month, right?
Um,
I think there's, you get both worlds.
yeah, I'm just saying if you wanna, I don't know. It depends what people want. It depends what people do. But I don't. You know what?
Like
If you're spending too much time on social media, it's not a good thing. And it's not a good thing. And it's not a good thing for teenagers
no, I know.
because you go through it fast. It's an addiction, right? There's no fact checking. Your information is so quick. You don't have time to make up your mind. You don't have time to debate it. You don't have time to come up with some kind of argument against what you're hearing. You don't process everything. It all goes into your subconscious mind. You basically just take the information in. And what bothers me the most is people are reading like little headlines or paragraphs or the titles of the articles, and then they go around spreading it as
Yeah,
news.
yeah, but they don't look at the context exactly.
Exactly. And now it's like, you know what? Now it's like, okay, you have superficial information on everything, but you know nothing. Once we go 3 layers deep, you don't know anything.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what's happening. That's what the culture is.
I actually do see that a lot. In fact, you know what I've been seeing a lot? Like all these old articles that are kind of relevant to what's happening now, and people are sharing them just because, like you said, the title.
Yeah, the title. Yeah.
And the reflex I have, obviously, you look at it, and my reflex is, okay, when was it written? When was it published? Who published it? What source it came from? Which media? So that's just my reflex. But so you see these things, you're like, oh wow, that's interesting. Wow, did that really happen? So like you click on the link, and then you see it's like an article published 2 years ago, right? It's like,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you have to be careful. You have to be careful with this stuff. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that, you know what? I'll give you this question. This is going to determine whether Facebook or stuff like that is good or not. Would you leave your kid or your teenage kid go on Facebook for 5 hours a day?
oh no.
No. Would you
I don't
have your
think so.
kid exercise and read 5 hours a day?
Yeah,
That's a clear yes.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's difficult, man, because it consumes our daily lives so
And
much.
and it shouldn't.
I know it shouldn't.
So you think that people like us who are more like George, who are always looking through all the pictures and the feeds and everything, and they're getting influence. It's giving them, if it's more negative, it's going to make them more negative. So their whole take on everything will become negative because of.
Well, not necessarily just negative, but first of all, you're not being
I'm just
productive.
giving negative because of negative could be one.
Yeah.
Impact.
So number one, you're not productive. Number two, you're not really fact checking everything. So you're taking in information that you're going to go repeat later on, and maybe it's a fallacy. You're going to be repeating the misnomers, mistakes.
No, but even the ones who don't repeat, just you think it'll affect the perspective.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think it will.
George, how many hours do you spend a day doing it? Mr. Addict,
My
your
phone is
so-called
always
addiction.
next to me, man. My phone is always next to me. Like,
How many hours of scrolling through the titles?
it's not like I time myself, but I'm on my phone a lot. Now with the girls always home, there's a bit less work in the evenings.
So you're not gonna give me a
I don't know.
superficial
I
number?
No, it
Give me a number.
doesn't matter. It's not. It's not about that.
can give you,
I just want to have an idea.
I don't know, a lot though, a lot.
So how many titles do you think you see? How many memes
Oh, a lot.
or whatever?
Yeah, but don't forget, it depends, right? Because I'm not just on Facebook or Instagram. Like I'm very often on Twitter, because that's where I get my news from, right? Like I follow journalists, I follow a news.
Twitter's good.
So I'm on Twitter a lot. And
Twitter's the least controlled one. It's good.
well, look, there's a lot of garbage too, right? And don't forget that.
Well, I mean, it's up to you to
But
put some sense.
for me, the bad thing about social media is that and anyone from in front of the computer screen can just reply and act all stupid, right? Like, I mean, uh, and I see that you have a journalist putting out something and then thousands of tweets just destroying him. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, but who's listening to them?
well, I mean,
Alright.
I don't know who's listening to them, but I mean, I'm just saying that that's the problem for me with social media. It's that you fall into the imbeciles, that have nothing else to do, and for them it's easy because they're protected from the comfort of their home. You don't see who they are. Their name may be fake. You know what I mean? There's no real personality behind that, and it's just garbage. And there's a lot, and that's where social media is bad because people like me who I mean, I've built a shell kind of all these years, and you can bash me online, and it's not really going to affect me, right? But there's other people that do, and it's like this online social media bullying kind of thing, where people post something, and you have just a bunch of idiots just saying, well, anything, any stupid thing. Like some girl can put something, and some moron from across the planet can just bash her and bully her and call her fat or whatever. You know what I mean? And this is a reality that exists. But
So you're more vulnerable.
yeah, so you don't know people. People on social media, they're not all the same, right? I mean,
Yeah,
people.
but that's the freedom of speech, right?
Exactly.
You're free.
You
You're
can't
free to
take it
put.
away.
Yeah, you're free to put content out there. Somebody's free to put content there and comment on everything.
That's why I'm a
you
little bit
say.
against. They've been doing a lot of this, like shutting people down, not to give them a voice. These are the guys that are going to take up guns one day because they don't have a voice.
I agree. I agree. You never touch. You never touch
You're
freedom
saying
of
they're
speech.
idiots, but the idiots need a voice to be
That's
proven
right.
wrong. You need to prove them wrong. It's there.
Yeah, you can't shut these guys down.
You shut them down, they're going to get rifles.
But you know what? I'm coming back to this because the negative. I don't think it's that. I think people are free to say whatever they want to say. They can bash. If you're putting out content, you got to be able to take the shots.
Yeah, but not everybody's there, Chris.
No, but then you know what? Then don't put content because you have to be ready for that. You can't censor some and not censor others.
Yeah.
So you leave it open, and that's an open platform. Where I find, go ahead.
Look, at the same time, you can just genuinely want to post good stuff, but
Why?
No. What I'm saying, an example, okay? Let's say hypothetically, my goal in social media is to post happy things or whatever. You know what I mean?
Because you want to maintain your reputation.
Moments, no, whatever. That's just what I choose to share. Let's say, for example,
Yeah,
I have no clue what the random person looking at that post might reply. You understand?
yeah. You know why? Because hypothetically, I could be the guy that just looks at posts and wants to have really people like my comments. And I could just go put a comment and have other people comment on my comment just because I bashed you, and I felt like bashing you because I saw maybe weakness in your argument, whatever.
No, it's easy, and it's available.
It's easy. It's easy. Yeah. That's why I said podiums belong to people that have earned the right to speak and say something, and then you can challenge them.
But even then, right? I follow a lot of thought leaders, a lot of mentors, entrepreneurs on social media. Them too, man. There's a lot of garbage that is being thrown at them, but they have taken the reflex of not really looking at the content. They put their content out, and that's it.
Yeah, but don't forget the entrepreneurs. Like we don't want to do any name dropping and whatever, but there's a lot. I follow a few guys too, but don't forget these guys. These are their ratings. That's how they make their money. The guy sitting at home spending 6 hours watching all this forgets that life happens outside the phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the difference. The entrepreneur, while he's doing that is his 10 hours of work.
Yeah.
While he's crunching his numbers, he's checking his numbers, his analytics, and everything on social media because that's how his business grows.
Mm-hmm.
But the person who just sits there and just scrolls and says, "Oh, nice, cute, like," next,
Waste
share,
time.
share.
Yeah.
That, yeah, you can figure out 100 things to do better with your time than do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not trying to I'm not, George, you okay?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just find that we're living in an era where everybody talks about their dreams and their goals and their visions, and everybody wants to have an impact on the world, and everybody wants to impact the world, and we're gonna bring in the big change. And in a world like that, I find it's a contradiction to be on social media all the time and just be absorbed by it. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a bad thing with somebody with big dreams, or for somebody that wants to change the world.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And people have to realize that.
It's funny because the people that I follow that have managed to get huge following on social media are not the people that are constantly on social media. Like there's like a social media strategy that they have, and they know that I need to post every single day or twice a day, everything prepared in advance. It goes on and then forget about it. They don't stay there. You understand? That's
And
but
they have people doing it for them.
people doing it for them, exactly. So there's this misconception that people have when it comes to social media. But to go back to what George was saying, I do spend a lot of time, mostly for my information because that's where I get it from. But lately, man, I think I've been addicted to Instagram. I can spend hours on Instagram, especially now where there's so much more time here, and there's less to do, and the girls are home now. I mean, we do spend a lot of time together, but I do find myself on my phone quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a normality for a lot of people. It's common. It's what it is
And
right now.
And I can I'm conscious enough uh, to know that to accept the fact that I'm on my phone a lot. People, they don't realize that.
So are you at least using that information for something? You said it's your source
No,
for
not
news.
necessarily. I mean, look, it depends. I mean, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll go through just to see what the news is. What's up in the news. But then, at some point during the day, I'll catch myself just scrolling uselessly through Instagram, for example. You know what I mean? Just nothing, doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like I follow a lot of photographers, so I just like the visuals too. I'm like, okay, nice. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I enjoy, right? I'm not. But
you know what? It's not people's fault, George. It affects the brain chemistry. Like
it becomes like an automated thing. It's like mechanically, like you don't really know that you're doing. You're just grabbing your phone and you're.
Not only that, you feel good, right? There's the four feel good drugs in your brain chemistry. They're called the EDSO, right? Endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. So Facebook offers all those.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's not even people's fault. It's they get into it and then they can't get out.
Yeah.
Because they become addicts. So I'm just saying, in a way, if you know this, well, the only way is to not get into it.
But also, don't forget that a lot of our reality, the way things have evolved, require you to kind of be on your phone, right? Whether it's emails. Look, books now. Very few people buy actual physical books. I usually get books because I love the feel of a book to read. But a lot of people, they read on their phone or on a tablet or whatever. Everything now, our reality has gotten to a point where it is indispensable. You need to have a mobile device for everything. I mean, it's like you almost can't live without it.
Yeah, no, but there's a big difference. You're right. But now you're talking about the phone or the iPad as a tool.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that
social media is not a tool. Social media is something else. It's entertainment.
It could be a tool. It could be a tool based on what you're doing. But what I'm saying is that we're so consumed by whether it's work or anything that is now available on a mobile device that everyone is looking. Like well, you're not going to take the bus now, but let's say you take public transport. Let's say the situation didn't exist and you're in the bus. Everyone's on their phone. You don't know if they're playing Candy Crush or if they're reading an email or if they're reading a book. You have no idea what you're doing. It's just that life has become now. You understand?
Yeah.
And it's easy.
Everybody, the phone. That's fine. Yeah.
And it's easy to lose track because imagine you want to read a book, right? And you have it on your phone, and then suddenly, poop, a little notification comes up about whatever, anything, like a post someone put on Facebook or on or on Instagram. Your natural reflex might be, oh, let me click on it and go see. So you're easily distracted. You
No
understand?
way. Look, man. If you follow what the time management, energy management, priority management guys preach, number one, you turn off all notifications.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, you cannot while you're working, you're in the zone and you're working and you're doing your productive work. Zero distractions. Zero. Nothing. You don't need to have Facebook say, hey, you got a message. Who cares?
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two is you got to put timers. So let's say you finish your work and you want to go on your Facebook, right? Well, set a timer for 15 minutes. So start, and then once that tone comes up and says you're done, your 15 minutes are up, you got to go back to doing something else. Because I understand, because look, I'm not on it a lot, but I've played around with Facebook a lot too. And time is relative, right? What does that mean? That means that you could be on Facebook for 4 hours and it seems like you're on it for 4 minutes.
Oh no, guaranteed.
So you know what? You got to be. If you're not conscious of that, you need a helper. You need a timer to tell you, "Hey, buddy, 15 minutes or 30, whatever. Maybe it's an hour, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You just don't want the hour to turn into 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like I don't want to keep looking for excuses, but I spent a lot of time on social media because of the work that I did in politics. A lot of our presence was so focused on social media, right? Reaching out to your electorate, like that's the place where you want it to be, right? So I was constantly on it, constantly, whether it was Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I started working in politics at the time where that whole wave of social media began in 2007, right? Twitter was there around before, but when we came in 2007, 8, Facebook was the place to be, right? And then Instagram came along, so we had no choice but to adapt. So I spent a lot of time on these platforms, and I don't know if it's because of that I'm still stuck to it. I don't know. I mean, I remember a time where there were weeks we were so busy that I hadn't even looked once on my phone, right? So, and forever I could kind of think to myself that when politics is all done,
You know what, George?
my phone aside, right, and not care about this, but the opposite is happening.
I can guarantee you that week that you didn't touch your phone, you probably did your best work in politics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guaranteed.
What I'm trying to tell you is that there were many times I had the presence of mind to tell myself that, man, I can't wait for this political thing to be over, man. I'll just be done with this phone thing. I won't touch it. I won't look at it. Like I'll be done with Facebook. Like there was like almost this feeling of disgust, almost. You know what I mean? But the opposite is happening. There's so much time now.
Oh, George, look, man, look.
That it's like.
Well, look, it's what you do. Whatever you got to do. People do what they got to do, and I'm just sharing a couple. Look, because we're just as dads, right? So I'm thinking like, would I want my kid on Facebook a lot? No, the answer is no. And can I control it a little bit? I'll control as much as I could control.
First
and
of all,
I think.
Sorry to interrupt you. The thing that worries me also is that now it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Look, the younger generation, forget about Twitter. Twitter is not even there. Like I use Twitter a lot because of the interests that I have. But now the youth, you have Snapchat, there's TikTok, there's all these new things. But what worries me is that in, let's say, 10 years from now, where for sure I know my daughters are going to have their own device, we have no idea what's going to be available. Like we're talking about Facebook and Instagram now, but you can't think now. You got to think, okay, when my kid's going to be 13, 14, 15, whatever years old, where they're actually going to have a cell phone, because your kid is 8. He's not going to have a cell phone for at least maybe 3-4 years, right? Maybe you're going to get him one when he goes to high school.
Are you talking to me or George?
Yeah, to Chris.
Well, he's 10. Your godson is 10.
10. Yeah, 10. So
you missed 2 birthdays on your Facebook.
Yeah, I missed those notifications. So, in 3-4 years from now, when he's going to be in high school, logically, he might have a cell phone. You want to be able to reach him at all times. We have no idea what social media platform is going to be available in 3-4 years.
That's right. That's why you don't raise your kid.
That's what scares me.
But that's why you don't raise the child today. You raise the adult tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you don't have to sit there and tell them about Facebook. All you got to tell them is like, you know what, critical thinking, you know, take things, you know, don't just buy into anything.
Yeah,
You should stand for
develop,
certain things.
develop certain reflex.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you want. And once these values are set in place, you know the filters are right, and then you don't have to worry for the next Facebook or whatever.
Teach them common sense.
The common sense, yeah. Just yeah, you know what? Just embed that into their thinking. That's all. Because everything is after people's like everything is there to fuck up with your head. Everything is fucking with you right now. That's what we're talking about last time. And it's what's weird is that somehow you don't know who to believe anymore.
It's all designed to fish you, to take
everybody has
from you.
Yeah, everybody has a story to tell. And
Man.
one thing they have in common is they all have listeners. And it's like, what are you listening to? What are you doing with this information?
I think it's going to be very interesting, like in the next coming years, or these next, like my daughter's generation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our education systems should incorporate that in their teaching material. Like how do you come to terms with social media? Like how do you I'm not sure how to explain this, but it's become such a present thing in our lives that I think they should be taught not how to use social media, but how to kind of navigate through this world, right? How to not be so bothered by, for example, the bullying that can happen on social media. How to not, concentrate so much and get obsessed over what's happening on social media. How to pinpoint what's right and what's wrong, what's credible and what's not. You understand? Like I have a feeling that I hope that society kind of moves that way, because first of all, I don't think we have any other option. It's a reality. We need to face that reality. We can't just act like it's not happening, and not.
But it starts at home, man.
Yeah, Chris, yes, it does start at home, but at the same time, think of how much time your kid spends at home, not now, but on average every single day when school is there. You understand? How much time do they spend at home?
You know what? I could be wrong on this, but you know what we said? What did you say about 5-10 years? You said, right? Is that what you projected for in the next 10 years? Is that what you said?
Oh, for that we don't know what's available.
Yeah. So let's say 10 years, 10, 15 years. You know what? It's very possible that there's homeschooling only.
Yeah.
You know what? Already in the States, there's the out schools. There's the educational system is kind of transforming. It's kind of morphing into something else. And all this stuff that you're talking about, there's some pushback from people, and homeschool is becoming a big option for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And if you take a little survey, you're going to see a lot of people interested in that. Now, there's pros and cons to that, but
I'm not sure if I'm for that, man. I want my kids to have a social life outside the four walls of the house.
Well, you want them to practice functioning with other people.
You know what? It's funny. You want them to have a social life outside the house, but everybody's on their phones. So I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I know, but that's why I'm saying that inevitably I would want our education system to address this reality that social media has in our everyday lives, right? Like I'm not sure how to explain it, but there has to be something done to kind of educate the kids on how to navigate through all this garbage, all this it's not garbage, because social media it could be good, right? It's not all bad, but at that age they're not going to be following like a business mentor or a coach or like a mind or a thought leader. They're going to be looking at all the stupid pranksters that put videos, you know what I mean? All the stupid things that we would have watched when we were 13, 14, right?
Yeah.
Where we would just laugh, oh, look at this. Did you see this?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think like social media, it has already taken such an important space in their lives that how do we incorporate that into the education system to kind of educate them on using them the right way?
You know what? Just a thought here, and George, you're right. And what I believe is that it's not so much about showing them what Facebook is and what it's not, and how to use it, how to not use it. I think that even the Facebook with the negative, it's all about just controlling the ratios. Yeah. Like it's all about controlling the right ratio. So example, let's say activity is 3 hours. Well, it's 3 hours activity, it's 3-1, right? 3 hours activity, 1 hour Facebook, let's say. It cannot be the other way around. So as long as we control the ratios and we know that, there's 2 hours of activity, there's 5 hours of studying, there's 2 hours of this, 2 hours of that, they should know that there's only half an hour or an hour of entertainment, whether it's Facebook or whatever. So it's not about bringing it in society. It starts at home, and just build the good habits to know that this is, you got to limit this. Think of Facebook as a video game, right? When we were growing up, it was a video game.
Yeah.
The ratio was never 5 hours video game, 1 hour of math.
Yeah.
You're right. It was always like, you knew that if you played video games for 8 hours straight, it was a bad thing.
Yeah,
Nobody needed to come and tell you, don't do that.
Yeah,
but the ratios were in check from the parents.
Yeah, but the difference, Chris, is that when we were growing up, the video game was a console in the living room. You understand?
Yeah.
So it was much easier to control. Now, it's in the palm of your hand. So your kid could be in school. Your kid could be in recess. He could be in.
But why does your kid have a phone?
Sorry?
Why would your kid have a phone?
I'm just saying. I'm assuming that when your kid goes to high school, he's probably going to have a phone.
No, why?
I don't know.
What does he need a phone for?
To be reached.
To be reached. Why would he be reached? What? So he could bring bread on the way back?
I don't know.
Like, why would I need to reach my kid?
Bring home some milk. I don't know. That's a good question. But
you're saying this now, but I know older parents. I mean, parents of older kids, and it's very practical.
I don't see the practicality. I see zero practicality. I only see negatives. I don't see a positive in me. I'm not saying I won't do it. We're just discussing here.
Yeah.
I don't see the practicality of handing my kid a phone number, a phone, and saying, here, in case I need to reach you once in a month.
Yeah.
I don't see the practicality. Zero.
Once in a month, Chris. It's just because. Look.
No, they have limit on their data, and their friends could contact them too. They have their own phone.
They're I don't know. Maybe we're too close.
You know what I think it is? We're not close-minded. I think this is keeping up with the Joneses. And somebody started it and said, "Here, you take a phone," and then everybody else got jealous and went to their parents and said, "I need a phone as well." And then parents felt really, really bad, and everybody has a phone now. That's how you get phones. That's how you get phones in high school when nobody needs them.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You're either in class paying attention, you're either on recess, right? Where you're with your friends anyway. Then you're back in class. Then you have lunch, so you're having fun and eating with your friends. Then you're back in class, and then you go home.
Hold on, this is not something new. Teenagers have had phones for at least a dozen years. It's been going on, and more. And now they all have phones. By the age of 15, it's guaranteed.
Or even less.
Yeah, but George, that's a choice. You've made a conscious choice to do that. You can say, "I'm not giving you a phone."
Yeah.
Or you can say, "You know what? You're not allowed to play video games." Or you can say, "You know what? We're not buying an Xbox." Or you can say Xbox is once a week. Yeah. What I'm saying is that sometimes you got to be unkind to be kind, and we forget that.
Yeah.
We can't just be our kids' friends all the time. It's like your buddy will never tell you stop playing. You're playing too much. Your buddy will tell you, "Hey, keep playing. We're having fun."
Yeah.
The parent though has to.
But all I'm saying is, if you're the only one who's not,
that's not a bad thing.
He's talking about.
Well, I mean, if you're the only one that's not, maybe there's
you're
missing.
No, if you're the only one that's not, you're probably in the good direction. You're probably headed the right way.
Sometimes, yes, but I mean, it could hurt the kid's social life too. He'll be excluded for sure.
No, you know why? Because there'll be a time where it's going to be like, "Hey, can I share? Can I have that? What are you guys doing?" And then he could kind of like be included in that. Okay, all I'm saying is that I think
that poor kid who they can't afford it.
It's all right. It's okay.
I'm not saying it's not all right. I'm just saying it's all right for you as a parent. But for him, it's gonna be that moment in life that he hated because he stuck out as the guy who didn't have it.
It's like
yeah, you're right.
It's the equivalent of us in high school where everyone had Nikes and Reeboks and we had systems.
I had A-League gear. You know what? I'm fine.
I would go to Yellow and buy Aero Systems. That's what it was.
You know what? You know what, guys? I remember that, man. I remember that. And you know what? My parents were the type that lived on less to give me more, and I'm appreciative of that. But you know what? There were certain times where, man, my dad would buy a $15 jean, right? And I'd be like, "What's wrong with this guy?" And it's like, you know what? No, man, he was right. Like now that I'm a dad and thinking back, it's like I'm glad he gave me those little tips. You know what? The $65 jean didn't make me cooler. It didn't. It made me a little bit fatter, actually.
Those one size fits all.
You think it didn't make you cool? You're just saying that now.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, of course it did.
No, it didn't, man.
Look, times I think have definitely changed, where kids obviously have a different mentality. The same way that we used to look at the world based on the examples we had growing up, which essentially is our family unit. Today's generation is the same thing. I mean, they look at what's going on at home. They see dad, mom, aunt, uncle, whatever, with a cell phone. They look at the tablet, the laptop next to the kitchen table, always on. Like, this is what they grow up in. This is the reality. So they want to be part of that too. I would assume. I don't know. My kids are still young, so when they go to
I'm seeing it, man. I'm seeing it. You know what? You're right, and it's just a bad mentality, man.
Yeah, but
It's
I
a
mean,
bad-
you're
that's
forgetting
why-
that it's more than just social media tool and phone. It's also,
It's everything. It's
it's your
everything.
magazine, it's your newspaper, it's your puzzle. These things are okay to be doing.
yeah.
It's not a bad thing to be doing.
No. It's not. It's not.
It's just they're
no,
no
it's not a
longer
bad
in
thing.
paper. They're no longer in paper form.
I don't know, man. I'm hearing things like I'm hearing kids like make fun of people and saying, "Oh, that's just for," or you know what, well, whatever. Like, anyways, whatever. I don't want to. I'm generalizing a little bit, and
First
because
world problems. Yeah.
I've heard comments, and the comments are not good. Why?
About
Because the
About what?
kids.
Sorry, comment.
Well, like it's like, hey, that kid is an idiot because you know what, my shoes cost more than all of his outfit, shit like that, and that's because that's our fault because we've made our kids centered around acquiring and possessing, and not about being and becoming. Get it?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that ultimately that is a wrong thing to do. That's all I'm saying. So it's okay not to have. It's okay not to have everything everybody else has. It's okay that he doesn't have one and gives you no right to make fun of him.
Yeah,
But at the same time, go and acquire whatever you could.
but here's a question, Chris. Is it going to be easier to raise your kids with that mentality, like it was, for example, with our parents' generation? Because we were a whole bunch of kids living the same situation, right? So we had people around us in that school environment that we could relate to, right? Oh, okay. Chris has Aerosystems. He has the elastic one size fits all jeans. Like,
A-League gear, baby. A-League gear.
but we had that kind of environment that we could all relate to. But when now you're going to try to enforce that kind of stuff to your kids, they're probably going to be the minority in their school.
That's fine.
Understand? And that's what
That's
George was saying
fine.
before.
You weren't the minority. That's what I'm trying to get you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So George,
When you were going through those moments where your dad was being more logical and whatever,
you could relate to it because
it's cheaper now. Somebody was being cheaper or being more poor, whatever. It was logical, but there was all you and your friends, all the parents were the same thing. All our parents were immigrants.
George, there's kids today that play soccer.
And you're going to fix the generation by saying no to yourself.
I'm not going to fix the generation. I'm going to fix my kid. I don't care about the generation. All I'm saying is that there are kids playing soccer today that ask for cleats that cost $300 and parents buy cleats that cost $350.
Yeah.
Guy, that's an issue, my friend.
That's
because we cannot say no. And you know what? You got to be able to look at that's weakness. You got to be able to look at your kid and say, you know what?
It's not practical.
I told Gerasimo, you're not playing with $300 shoes. You know which ones we get? We go and we ask, what are the cheapest shoes you have? And that's the ones we're getting. And
they
usually
grow out of them at the end of the summer.
They grow, exactly. So all I'm saying is that, you know what? Yeah, we can give and we could spoil. But you know what?
You're talking about two separate things. That's all I'm going to tell you. You're putting it all under the same bubble. Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm putting it under the bubble of me parenting my kid and what the right values that he needs according to me. Other people have other values.
$350 cleats versus having.
That's right. Can I afford
something to use to communicate with all the social circles
George,
like everybody else?
Can I afford $300 shoes? Of course I can. Do I buy them? Never, ever, never.
I think you're going to end up getting him a phone. You're going to have to.
Never.
He has a mother too.
The mother agrees with me.
Yeah.
Well, see, the pressure's going to change, man. It's going to hurt you if the guy stops liking you, man. I'm telling you.
You see, I don't care. I'm up. I don't want him to like me. I want him one day to think of me and respect me. I don't care if you like. He's not my buddy. I'm a father first, a friend second.
I agree with that.
If
I
he
agree
likes
with
me
that.
or not today is not my concern. All I want is for him to be able to come and speak to me, right? I'm opening the communication channel that he can tell me anything. I first tell him that I care, and then I let him know what I think. And you know what? I just trying to build a good environment for him to thrive in. That's it. But if I got to tell him something, I got to tell him something.
It's just complicated because things are advancing so quickly. There's all these new things coming out like every half hour, basically. Like it's what I was saying before. We don't know what's going to be there in the next.
Well, I'm gonna go back to my point where all this came from. Is like there's kids that are early 30s right now that they grew up with a phone in their hand.
No,
What
yeah,
are the results with them? That's what's going to tell you what this is.
Yeah.
They're there. There's numbers there to be checked.
no.
And I've met people that age. They're not bad kids. They're not bad adults.
Yeah,
They grasp the same concepts we grasp. They have the same values. They understand the negative impact of these things and avoid them, just like you talk about. It's just
I'm not
a
talking
matter
about
of
that.
teaching them common sense.
It's
Even
not
with
about
that thing in their hand, they could be taught that common sense and to filter it out.
No, you know what? Maybe I disagree because my focus is not for them not to be bad. Like I'm way up. Like I think,
What are you
like
talking about?
what I'm saying is that as a parent, you don't want your kids just not to be bad. You want the best case scenario, right?
You want
So
them to be successful.
well, successful in their way, whatever they find success to be.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Because you said that we know people that grew up with their phones and blah blah blah, and they're not bad people. I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm not striving for not bad.
I'm not saying. I'm saying they're not unsuccessful. They're not unfulfilled. They're not unsatisfied with life. They have the same kind of desires as we do. It doesn't change.
George, I think if you look at the stats, 99% of the people are overworked, overstressed, unsatisfied, unfulfilled, almost depressed, anxious, hating their. I honestly, I think
it's because of the handheld.
I think it's because of everything.
they're just consumed by everything.
They're consumed everything but their life. They're not. They're too busy making a living to build their life. And then
maybe I don't feel what you're saying because I don't live the social media world.
No, I'm not. Yeah, no, it's a good thing. If you're not feeling that, it's a great thing. I'm just saying that a lot of the people that you see that put a lot of the fancy stuff around the houses and the memes and like "I love you, honey" and "Oh my God" to my beautiful wife and this and that. There's a lot of things that they're hiding. Facebook is a nice little window you can open up and put all the positive and kind of convince people that you're living a great life.
But who believes that this is all?
I'm just saying
it's just an image, huh?
No, but it is an image. And what I'm saying is that when you actually talk to people and you're being real with them and they open up to you, you pretty much realize that people are unsatisfied, unfulfilled, overworked, stressed, they're anxious. And that's why people tend to like want to get entertained all the time because it's the escape of reality. It's what we said before.
How do you guys feel about this homeschooling? I just want to go back to that. What you
well, hold on, but to your point, what you're trying to say is that if you have the habit of doing that, you're never going to cope with the rest of it.
I'm just saying that you cannot. What I'm saying is that you have no right to be disappointed with the fruit that didn't come because of the seed you didn't sow. You know what I'm saying? It's like you cannot be after, oh, I hate my life, I hate this, I hate that, when you didn't prepare for it.
Yeah, but
because you just watched your life go by. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that you have no right to be disappointed.
Yeah, but do you think that the people thinking like that have the presence of mind to understand that that is happening because of their inaction?
Well, maybe they don't. You're right, but I'm just saying that you have a lot of people complaining. Everybody's complaining. Everybody's criticizing. Everybody's condemning, and nobody realizes that it's in your power to do things. It's like you're not going to change the government. You're not going to change everything.
Yeah.
People should take their own responsibility. And that's what's frightening about this COVID-19. We're just asking people to be responsible for yourselves and other people, and they can't even do that.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that, you know what, whatever success is, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying the right values come with the right habits, and the right habits are going to give the right results. And there's certain things that we're seeing today that I won't let my kid get into because I know the result is going to be a negative one. Because the thoughts are going to breed the feelings are going to make certain actions, and the certain actions are going to give a result. And that result could be bad.
Yeah.
And
So,
it could be applied to what you hear, to what you listen, to self-talk. Like today, like my kid was being he was on the phone, right? Because they're doing homework. So he was doing homework with one of his friends, and they were complaining about everything. Complaining, oh, why are they making us do this? Oh, this is so hard. Do we really need this? This is a waste of time. Why would we do? And it's like I stood there and I was listening for like 5 minutes, and it's like, dude, man.
yeah, but we've all been there, Chris.
No, George. That's not. He doesn't hear that from me. I don't complain.
Yeah.
I never complain. And I tell him, never complain. And he learns in sports not to complain, yet he does it. That means there's another source that's affecting him and influencing him. Yeah. And I'm saying that if we're not extra careful, right now they listen to us. In a few years, they won't.
No, yeah.
They're going to be listening to their stupid friends that want to go smoke weed. And that's fine. They need to go through that. But you got to have the right filters and the right mentality, you need a mental toughness to get through it.
Yeah.
And I'm just putting a little bit more weight than George's. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying we got to be thinking about this.
You underestimate.
I what?
You underestimate.
What do I underestimate?
I'm probably the meanest father from the three of us.
Oh, I'm not saying. I'm not talking about that. But you agree that sometimes you got to be unkind to be kind, and you agree that tough love is love.
I completely agree with that.
All right, that's all.
I completely agree with that.
Then why are you arguing with me?
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying the problem is not the phone. It's the lesson that doesn't come with it.
No, it is the phone. You know why? Because the phone is 98% of the entertainment.
I played video games. I read comic books. I collected hockey cards. I watch a lot of TV.
That's right.
It replaces that.
Yeah, no, man. It's not. You see, it's not the same thing.
You don't want it to be the same.
It's not the same thing.
I'm just saying it represents the same thing.
No, George, what Chris is saying, like, see, like if you take the equivalent of what we had and replace it with the phone, then yeah, maybe there is no trouble. There's no issue, right? Like, I mean, if the equivalent of collecting cards is now looking at hockey players online or whatever, the equivalent is, then maybe that's not the problem. But the issue that Chris is underlying is that you don't know what they're doing. Like, is it really productive things that they're doing on their phone, or is it just a waste of time and waste of energy and just a waste of just your resources?
And just a little bad
are for.
A little bad example, George. You said you watched a lot of TV, but you know what? You kind of controlled the TV in a way, because there was an on and off button, and you know what? You wanted to watch a show. You showed up at 5:00. You watched it. By 5:30, it was over. Then you wanted to watch the 5:30 show till 6:00. Right? You got to wait through commercials. What's happening with these kids now is that there's a play and a pause button, and that's it. You could be watching years and years continuously of programs, and you know what that does? You have no patience for everything, nothing else.
That's true.
These kids don't have patience for anything because everything is instant gratification. It's the same second. You know what? We're watching a movie today, and there was a bit of an ad. There was an ad on, I don't know what, Roku we're watching. And you know what? The ads last 25 seconds. My son was annoyed. He couldn't get to 20. It was 25 seconds of interruption. It was like, I can't do it anymore. I got to go jog. He had to go skip some rope. I'm serious, man. What I'm saying, that this is negative. It can be all positive, man.
I know, but it's something that we created because we hated the commercials.
I know. All I'm saying is that, you know what?
We're overfed.
In a world of, that's right. In a world that is going this direction, this is the generation that can start going the other direction and realize and wake up and say, hey, we're the worst generation, guys. The baby boomers built a lot of stuff and that we're destroying.
They consumed a lot. They consumed a lot.
Like, you know what? It's, that's all I'm saying. And, I'm just more conscious of it because, like, obviously we're raising kids, but I'm just conscious about the brain, man, and how it takes the information in. Maybe because I'm reading a lot about it and I'm getting very interested in it. And maybe I am exaggerating and maybe I am a little bit scared, but I'm not scared. I just want to be prepared. That's it. I just want to be prepared. And you know what? I can't, even when you're prepared, You cannot, and then
you can't be too prepared. Yeah.
That's right. There's a certain amount of things that you can't control. But you know what? You just want those probabilities to be up on your side.
Yeah.
You just want the possibilities to be on your side. That's all you want. That and you know what? We just have a little bit more of work to do. And I think the way we talk to our kids and the way, like, I'll give you an example. Your kid draws something. He draws a rainbow, and he comes and shows you, right? There's two types of parents. There's the first parent that's going to be like, hey, you know what, this is not really in the lines, you kind of missed the red here, you could have done this a little bit better, the lines are not really straight, you want to go back and redo it. That's one type of parent. That's fine. Second type of parent is, wow, now it could be the ugliest thing in the world, and you're like, wow, oh my god, mama, look what they did, look at this is amazing, bravo. Both of those are bad. Both of those are bad, because one is like, you're criticizing a little too much, and now you're killing the ambition and the motivation. And the other one is like, you're creating a delusional kid. You're creating a kid who's going to be like, oh my god, I draw the best rainbows. You don't understand what? I'm an artist. So you got to be in between. So the best way to do it is you got to be like, hey, what did you this is what I do, and I don't know if it's working, but I think it is. So what I'll say is like, why are you drawing this? What inspired you to do this? Where is it coming from? And then you talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now you're safe. You don't have to like lie to the guy, because I hope maybe Erasmus was going to listen to this one day, but he can't draw. It's bad. It's just bad. And you know what? It was so bad that I couldn't even lie. I couldn't be type 2 parent. I couldn't be like, wow. I'm like, Erasmus, man. Wow, man, this needs work,
Horrible.
Don't show anybody.
Don't show anybody, you know what I mean? Now, Maria's a little bit better, but at the same time, you don't want to create all I'm saying is that we have to be a little more careful. And you know what? With everything that exists, we know so much now to try and not be shitty parents, because shitty parents create shitty kids. And all we want to do is not make them too shitty, because they're all going to be shitty. It just limit the shittiness. I don't know if I'm making any sense, man.
Yeah, I know. It's funny that you're mentioning this thing, because I'm definitely the number 2 parent. I'm always like, wow.
Yeah, whoa, my God.
But it's funny because my 2-year-old today, she was drawing, like, obviously she can't draw. She doesn't, it's like scribbling. And I told her, I'm like, you want to make me a cat? And it was honestly just a couple of times, circles. I'm like, and she's like, yeah, meow, meow. I'm like, yeah, it's a beautiful cat.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
Of circles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what are you going to tell a 2-year-old? No, it's not like,
No, you just say, hey, that's nice. Well, why did you draw this? Did you see this? Can you draw something else for me? You know what I mean? You make it about her, not about the drawing. Yeah. You don't have to critique the drawing. Yeah. You have to make conversation with her to make her feel okay, or him okay.
Okay, let's go to, because I'm still stuck to that homeschooling that you brought up, because I don't know why it's screwing me up here. I don't disagree with you that it's a possibility, especially given what's happening now with this disease, where everyone has had to adapt, like whether it's businesses, whether it's education, whether it's like people have had to adapt the way they do things for work, for their lives, for everything. And I don't disagree with you one bit when you say that it may very well
back
be,
in 1 minute.
Yeah, it may very well be like a reality. I'm not sure I would want my kid to be homeschooled, man. I don't know why. I think I would want my girls to just go outside, see other people, learn, fail, have that social life. I feel like if they're stuck at home all the time, they're just going to be weirdos when they hit their 20s and they have to come out of the house.
Yeah, but you know what? Homeschooling, look, I don't know what it's like. Look, I've seen a few documentaries. I've heard a couple of guys speak on this topic, like Ken Robinson and guys like that are like all about the educational industry, right? It's still an industry. Academia is an industry, right?
Yeah.
And it's suffering because there's always low budgets. There's never any money. Teachers are getting overwhelmed, underpaid, right? So there's definitely a need for it. There's definitely a need to reform. But homeschooling doesn't necessarily mean kids don't go out. They're probably still going to go out and join a team, maybe dance, maybe do gymnastics, play hockey, play soccer. Yeah, but there's probably going to be recreational centers where you go and have fun. It's just that the school part of it, the schooling, the learning, right? Which learning and schooling are two different things, right? It's probably going to be done either at home or with, like, think of Aristotle and Alexander, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing where it's more based on mentorship. It's based on somebody that's achieved more, and he's ready to show you now. So
Yeah.
it's going to be through mentorship, through coaching. So that's what homeschooling will be. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't go out, they don't have a social life.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about, the extracurricular activities, the gyms, the parks, the running, the whatever. I'm talking about, from 8:30 until 3 at home.
Yeah, but it's not going to be at home. It's probably going to be like, okay, you wake up, you go for a run, right? You do your little exercise, you come back at 9 to 9:30 is breakfast time or whatever. Probably you're going to wake up a lot earlier, but 10:30 to 11:30 we learn this. Then at lunchtime we're probably going to go to some kind of, I don't know, a recreational center where there's serve food and you can see some friends and talk. Then you come back, you do another hour and a half of math and French or whatever. At 3 o'clock, it's time to do your ballet or your soccer or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's probably going to be throughout the day, and it's going to be different activities. Look, no one knows what it's going to be like. I'm just saying there's more and more a need to leave or to escape this industrialized system that school is based on. Like the teacher, the board, the chairs, everybody looking at, you know what I mean? That kind of format, I think, is losing its appeal. And the other thing is, well, if we're going to be doing this, well, why am I paying a teacher? I might as well leave him home. He's doing this anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but I think it's going to morph into every industry. And I don't think it's only going to be primary school, like elementary school, right? It's probably going to be even engineers. Like, you're probably not going to be going to a 4-year engineering undergraduate program, right? You're not going to be doing a bachelor's in engineering for 4 years in a university. You could probably just go under the wing of some, I don't know, established engineer, and you're going to learn through him. Even doctors, you're going to learn through a doctor. You know what I mean? I think it's going to morph into that.
I think there's some industries that should require some education, like some knowledge. Like you need to be instructed on what an engineer is, how it works. Like a doctor, you would trust a doctor that has zero schooling, but has just been following some other doctor, like for many years.
I would trust a doctor that has seen. I'll put it this way: I will trust a doctor that has seen and co-performed 15 surgeries than a doctor who hasn't performed one and has read 5 books on it.
Yeah, but the doctor that hasn't performed any surgery, he's not going to go from one to the next as a main surgeon. I mean, there is a procedure. I mean, especially in that field, you see so many doctors with a following. You see it all the time.
Yeah, but it's going to be more like that. You're going to have less of the theoretical stuff. I'll tell you why. We spoke about this before, I'm sure. But university schools used to be the gatekeepers of knowledge, right? We've said this.
Yeah.
They have that. No one else had access to these documents because encyclopedias were in schools, the books were in schools, the articles that were published by professors were in schools. Everyone has access to that. That means that part of the university you don't need anymore because you can access that information anyway. Yeah, so what are you looking for? You're looking for the practical aspect.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of garbage information that is accessible as well. So you need that knowledgeable person to kind of educate you and guide you towards what you need to be learning and what you need to be avoiding.
And what's better than a guy that's been doing it for 20, 30 years?
Yeah. Well,
the guy that's made all the mistakes and is telling you don't do this, never do that, do this way.
Yeah, but that's like advanced. Like we're talking about, advanced schooling now. Let's I was thinking more like elementary school, right? From like whatever.
Well, elementary school, from what I've read and seen, people are kind of moving towards like the tablets and all these interactive programs.
That has already started, right?
Yeah, it's already started.
Boards and everything in school, it's much more interactive.
And you know what? And I think what you're kind of you're referring to is the standardization aspect of things. You want to make sure that there's somebody that's setting the standard and people are able to pass tests and say, hey, here's your certification. You passed the test. You can go ahead now and practice your profession. That's what you kind of mean, right?
Yes and no, because I'm not so sure I agree 100% with the way it works now. I'm just questioning and wondering if the environment is better for the kid to be at home or to be in a school setting with other kids. You understand? That's what I'm questioning.
Yeah, yeah. When we don't know, there's pros and cons. There's a lot of people that are not comfortable with that. There's other people that are comfortable with it. But what is the right setting? Is the growth better? Is the learning better when your kid is with another 4 kids, with another 10 kids, 25 kids, 30 kids? What's that magic number where your kid thrives the most?
Yeah.
What is that? We don't know. And so we just don't know. I'm just saying that the appeal of the industrialized concept of school the way it is right now is it's losing its appeal. That's what's happening right now.
Has Alex been approached now that she's home to kind of figure out a way to communicate with her students, or to, I don't know, to somehow keep in touch with them, or to
Socrates, man, it's full on. They do their Zoom conferences with the teachers. They do their Zoom conferences with the parents. They do their 15, 20 minutes.
With the kids.
With all the kids, yeah. They have their homework. They do their homework.
They prepare, and it's this like they send the.
Everybody's on. Yeah. This is not a vacation, man.
Is it taken into account? Like, is it more like just keep the kids busy, or is it graded stuff? Is it like it counts?
Well, look, I don't think it counts.
The government just launched a platform online for students to go and look at, and do different activities, and just stay off the TV or the tablets or whatever the hell they're.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Yeah,
that's what it is, and that's important. Look, I was always somebody that never believed in grades. Like, I know people are listening to this and saying that it's crazy. Even when I teach, I don't believe in grades. I think grades is the wrong thing. I haven't been teaching a long time, but the past 8 years that I've been teaching, and I've taught like college level, younger kids and older kids, continuing education, older men or older women that have come back to kind of change their profession. And you know what I've noticed? People are programmed to pass exams. People don't know how to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big problem, because when you pass an exam, what you're doing is you're memorizing everything. You're relying on your memory to get through the information quick to get a grade.
And to pass, just to pass.
And to pass. And then 4 days later, I ask you, what is that? And you just don't know. And that is the wrong way of learning.
Yeah, but you now, how does it work for you? I mean, at the end of the day, you need to present some sort of grading, no, to the administration, or
yeah. Look, I do it because that's what the establishment wants. That's what the institution wants, and that's fine. I'll do that. I'm just saying, I'm teaching a lot more the kids how to learn without me, how to be independent of a teacher, like how to go get the information, how to be analytical with the information, how to evaluate different information, and how to learn. Basically, for me, that's more important than the grade they'll get. Mm-hmm. And because I clearly communicate this at the beginning, now that they're going through the test, they're not as stressed, and I see better results. Just because it's like, okay, it's not that important. It is important, but it's not the ultimate goal. Like, the goal, think about it. The goal is not to get a good grade. The goal is to understand that it's to learn,
to retain the information, the knowledge.
That's right. And what is an exam? An exam is a particular snapshot of your knowledge that particular day. Now, you could have had a bad day. Maybe you didn't sleep well. Maybe your kid kept you up all night. Maybe you didn't have time to study everything because you were taking care of your mom or your dad. So why an 85? What does it reflect? That snapshot, that piece of your life that you're never going to get back. But if you have the right habits and you know how to read the information, go through information quick, and take the right stuff, I think that is more beneficial in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that that's going to change also in school.
George,
in elementary school.
Would you consider having your kids homeschooled?
I don't know.
Tough one. It's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a tough one because that social component, I think it's really important for the human to develop. Man. You need to develop these instincts and the etiquette and everything.
But homeschooling doesn't mean no social life. It just means
I know. But where do you make your friends? You make your friends in that playground.
Yeah, in the playground, in the park, recreational
The
center.
playground with that kid you sat next to, then you went outside, had some laughs, and you went to sit next to them again, and you still shared some laughs from a distance. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some value there. It's
Mhm.
hard to. That's the one I don't want to walk away from.
Yeah, it's true. We'll see. We'll see. It's an interesting one, this one.
It is.
Unless there's a way to organize it, and they have let's say you're homeschooled, so you could do your day could be shorter being homeschooled. Say the kid's day could end at 1 p.m., but at 2 o'clock, everybody meets there and has a kid, afternoon.
Yeah, but it does exist, right? I mean, the government has mechanisms in place here in Quebec to recognize homeschooling. There's a lot of kids that are homeschooled. I'm just not familiar.
If you look at it at an efficiency, from an efficiency standpoint, okay, it makes more sense. The less bodies that move and you get the job done, the more efficient it was, right? Less waste, more sleep for everybody, less running, less this, less that,
Look,
who stays home with them? That's the other thing. They're gonna stay home by themselves.
You know what? I'm gonna look into, not because we're thinking of doing it, but just out of curiosity. I mean, what are the criteria that are, what are the requirements?
You want to pay a private instructor? That's what it is.
Is it a yeah? I guess.
Yeah, of course. That's what it is. You're joining a private instructor.
Yeah.
Or it could actually, in some parts of the states, it could be the parents. If the parents feel qualified, they're confident enough that they could pretty much pass on the curriculum academically.
Yeah.
I think they have the right to do so.
No, but
that's a gamble.
Everything.
Some people claim they're great at something.
Yeah, but look, whatever it is, even if I were qualified, which I don't think I am, but let's say even if I were qualified to teach my own kids, I wouldn't do it because the attention span is different when the parent is there and when there's someone that they don't necessarily know.
You don't represent the same thing as a
connection
teacher.
with, like you.
But I think that's that's the reason why it's losing its appeal, because the new reform is kind of saying, you know what, I don't want a person talking on the blackboard and people listening, because kids are going to fall asleep, they're bored, they want to move around. So basically, you're going to have to teach through an activity. You're not going to sit them on the blackboard and sit them on a chair and teach. The whole point is to kind of like escape that kind of format.
I'm talking about the teacher versus the parent. I'll give you like a boring example. We go to the pool and I swim with my daughter, and obviously we're having fun. It's not a course environment, right? But I try to tell her, okay, do this like this, and she doesn't care. She doesn't listen to me. But when I'm not in the picture and there's an instructor or a teacher there, she's more focused. She's more zoned in. She sees the other kids doing it, so she forces herself to do.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference.
Yeah.
If I were to homeschool my kids, I would last maybe 20 minutes, and then I'd lose control. I would lose entirely the control.
Yeah. But the idea is, don't forget, like when we're talking about homeschooling, I don't think we're really talking about covering the whole curriculum as it was in school. The idea is, example, you're an entrepreneur. You're into, I don't know, you have a restaurant, right? That's your business. And you kind of maybe want to pass it on to your kids. So instead of your kid going and learning things like, I don't know, history that maybe he doesn't care about, the Algonquins, the Crees, learning certain things that maybe he doesn't really care about, you could teach him by bringing him to work and saying, do the cash. What's 2 + 2? That's how you do your math. That's money. That's what it buys. Come and start cooking. This is a stove. There you go. So I think it's more towards that. So I don't think we could completely eliminate a school, but I think I think that something like that is a good idea. And what we definitely need to integrate in the school system today, and I don't understand why there's such a lag, is more activity. You cannot have 3 hours of gym a week. You need to have an hour and a half a day.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying this because I've struggled with weight all my life. And I'm not saying that if I had activity an hour or 2 hours a day, I would have been thin today. But it would have been in my culture, where it would have been like inculcated in my brain that this is what we do. right? This is what we do. That I don't care if you like it or not. This is what we do. From 8 to 10, we're active.
Yeah, it gets implanted
It gets implanted. That's right, into your mind.
it becomes
Reprogram
a habit.
yourself.
Yeah, and then when you get to lunchtime, you could tell the kid, you know what? Look, we just worked our bodies for 2 hours. Do you really want to eat that May West? Do you really want to have the chocolate chip cookie? So it becomes a culture, and I think that culture should be a little bit more pushed in schools, and it's not, because in schools what you'll see today is lack of activity, nobody moving, very little gym, and disgusting lunchboxes.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
You know what's interesting, because we're looking, because Emma's going to start elementary now in September, and my wife looked. I forgot what it's called. You can order, like, instead of making the lunch at home. I mean, you can do it if you want to, but there's this. I can't forget. I can't remember what the name was. Basically, you subscribe, and you order the lunch
mm-hmm.
online.
Hot meals.
What is it?
Hot meals.
Oh, maybe it's that. I'm not sure. Maybe it's that.
No, but I mean, it's about having a hot meal at school.
They prepare your meal, and they deliver it to the school, and at lunchtime they
It's a restaurant. It's a canteen truck.
yeah, like each kid has their lunch, and it's all healthy stuff. Like the parent, like they're gonna have fruits, they're gonna have vegetables, they're gonna have and
These are good incentives.
it's pretty cool. I think it's $4 a day or something like that. I can't remember.
They don't have that at my son's school.
No, it's not.
Every school is individual.
It's not part of the school, George. It's not part of the school. It's a business. It's like a side thing. They partner up with all the schools. You subscribe. You have.
I'm saying they're not in all the schools.
Really?
My son was. Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm saying what I'm saying. My son's current school, which is the one in our district, which we are enrolled in, for his kindergarten year, that wing of the school was being rebuilt, so they canceled that whole. All the classes for the kindergarten were moved to another school, just for that 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So we were ordering hot meals from him, from that school. So we would prepay for the month, and there was certain meals, certain days. We would go select the ones that he wanted, and so on.
Yeah.
We go to this school. It's catered by a local restaurant, and you go online and you set up a profile and you order which meals, which days for the whole month ahead, and you pay one shot, and they're delivered to the school on those specific days. So they each have their own thing.
Yeah, we have the same thing at Socrates. It's PYO doing it.
Oh, I know the PYO program. It's very good.
It's very nice.
And you're reassured that they're going to eat healthy at least, right? Because parents now, they're so preoccupied, man. You have like you said, it's garbage. They're gonna they're gonna.
You know why it's garbage?
Yeah.
Because kids don't eat. They just, their lunch boxes are full when they go back home. They're just too busy having fun. They don't care.
Yeah.
So the parents keep putting stuff that they might eat, so they don't want them to look malnourished.
Yeah, but you know what? Don't forget that if like the taste buds, the way they work is that if you introduce the mozzarella stick to your kid, then the green pepper is gonna be like, ugh. It doesn't taste as good as the mozzarella stick, right? So then what you do?
Both.
Well, again, it's always about the ratios.
Yeah.
It's the ratio. It's 4-1. It's 4 pieces of green pepper with 1 mozzarella stick, not 4 mozzarella sticks for half of pepper.
It's funny because in high school we had to wait until Friday to have pizza. Remember that?
Yeah, $1.
Yeah.
$1.50.
That was our thing. Okay, it's Friday. We're gonna go have pizza today. The rest of the week, it was all prepared meals from home, and we were among the very few kids in school that had lunch from home.
You know why? Because your mother wasn't on Facebook all day, bro. Your mom, you went home. It was time for you to study, and it was time for you to prepare. What are the kids going to have tomorrow? And it's like she was ready to prepare, make sure they're all okay.
No, Chris, but we're acting like it's a new phenomenon, man. Even back then, we would walk through the cafeteria and we would see the garbage kids were having. You know what I mean? A lot of them were actually buying food from the cafeteria, which, okay, let's say was okay. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember what they would serve because we never had any of it. but a lot of the kids had disgusting food, man. It was like, what, your parents don't give a shit, man.
No, but the difference
We
is
would go to school and have
there's a big difference, George. The difference is that you're right. You're right. I agree with you, but we were kind of adults, not adults, but teenagers, right? So it was choices. We had choices. In elementary school, you can't rely on your kid's ability or its judgment, right? You have to be the parent. You gotta tell it what it's gonna eat.
yeah.
Right? So when you're left to your choices, then you could mess up and fuck up all you want. But for your kid, you got to set the right example. So it is the same thing, but it's not.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Anything? I think we're gonna end it. Anything else we want to say, guys? Actually, I'm scared to ask you that question because we're gonna drift off for another half hour.
No, it's good, man. It's like, look, it's a good conversations to have. It's just about being aware. And you know what? We had a conversation today where a lot of people haven't had, and I don't think a lot of people are having these conversations.
Yeah.
Because if you are talking about this with your wife, at least you're concerned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you know what, you want to talk about this with your wife, you want to talk about this with your husband, you want to talk about this stuff together to see where everyone stands, so you can be a team to deal with this stuff later.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to watch your Netflix, enjoy the movie, comment on the movie, comment on. I send you a text message. I shared something with you, and then you forget what's important.
But it's what I said before, the scary thing is that even if you're there with your wife or your husband, talking about these things and how are we going to address this issue or that issue in 5 years from now, it's going to be a completely different reality. You understand? It's like, it's almost, no, I don't want to say impossible because I'm not there yet. I don't even know what that reality is like, but I imagine it would be even hard to even have that conversation when you have no idea what's coming.
No, the basics are the same. The basics haven't changed in thousands of years.
Yeah.
So whatever, the values are the same. The compass is the same. So it doesn't matter what comes along.
Yeah.
You know, foundation is
use common sense, and don't forget what your grandmother told you.
Yeah, there was some wisdom in these old people from the village. Yeah. Don't you realize that more and more?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That it was like, oh man, these guys had it.
Well, more so now.
Yeah.
You know what? When you go to a village on vacation in Greece and you live like them for a few days, and you're like, oh, wow, this feels amazing. I mean, you have to remember the natural world we come from. We carry something there, you know. So that it's got some value.
Yeah, no, but and it's the little things. Like, I'm an agnostic. I'm not really religious, but I do understand why people put people around the table and had a little prayer.
Yeah,
it kept it together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Nobody's on their phones. Everybody's
Guiding
sitting
light.
there beating. Yeah, they're being grateful, and you know what? The family's there. Everyone's alive, and everyone is happy about it. So I'm just thinking of all this stuff, and it's, you know, it kind of makes sense, and we're losing all of that.
Yeah. The gratitude.
Yeah, we're losing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. All right. On that note, we'll put an end to the episode. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We do appreciate it. Stick around. There's another one coming in, I guess, 2 weeks.
And let me know what rainbow you like more, the one on the top or the one on the bottom.
Yeah, I think the bottom one. Who did the bottom one?
Doesn't matter. That's none of the business. It's not your business.
Bottom one.
I like the top one because it's not traditional.
All right. Good.
All right, guys. Have a good week.
It's not.
All right.
But it's not the right colors, right? Of the Facebook.
Hey, you said you're a type 2 parent, my friend. You got to see how beautiful it is.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right.
And,
take care, boys.
You guys all. Next episode. Ciao.
Ciao. You're waiting for me to leave.
I'm trying to find the button. Bye.